Cool.
Hey, this is Christine Pereira, and I'm here with Shanti Zimmerman, and we're so excited to talk about blame, shame, and guilt in business. And if you don't know me, I am from Soulful Selling Bootcamp. I teach women and introverts how to sell, whether it's their products and services or it's just to be a more persuasive person. And I met Shanti a couple weeks ago, and she's my new favorite person because she had such amazing things to say, and she did an amazing talk about blame, shame, and guilt. And Shanti, can you give people a little bit of background? Because I know so much about you, but I don't know how to condense it.
Yeah, I know more about me, and I don't know how to condense it. That's something I've never learned, like how to just put it all into like a 3-second or 3-sentence thing. I help people be who they really are.
And you're officially a coach, right?
Oh yeah, I'm official. Well, it's funny because I just did the Facebook Live, and I actually burned all the official stuff a while ago. Like did a bonfire and threw all the certificates and everything.
So you're an unofficial coach?
I mean, I could probably call up those schools again and say, "Can I? I lost it in a fire. Could I get my certificates back?" But it was more like an ode to, I'm not those certificates. I'm just because I have something plastered here that says coach doesn't mean anything about me. Mostly I'm a human being. It's why my brand is being Shanti.
Right. Yes. And you have such amazing insights. And so you're based in Switzerland now, but you are originally from the US.
Yeah. I was born in Sedona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was born, I like to say I was born to hippie parents who loved each other so passionately they mostly couldn't stand each other. So I grew up in this really interesting household, of like, this thing. So, and very, very sensitive from a very early age. I went to Montessori school. Mm-hmm. People called me like an indigo child and all these things. I mean, like I had no clue that people were thinking I was special. I thought I was awesome. Mm-hmm. And then I forgot that I was awesome because that's kind of what happens in your teenagerhood if you don't have support that tells you that you're awesome. Mm-hmm. And then the whole process of, I have 4 children as well, from 7 to 15. And the whole process of like being a mom and all of that brings that back up and gave me the opportunity to really meet myself again. And to meet all of that stuff that kind of got condensed as I went through being a teenager and what the normal, I didn't have a normal teenagerhood, but I don't really know what normal is. So that just reopened all of that. And mostly my kids taught me everything I know.
Isn't that funny? I find that that's so true. You get these like little bits of wisdom from kids, and it's just so amazing. I get the same thing with my kids.
I love to say my kids are raising me, and my kids are leading me to enlightenment, and they show me, they really show me what it means to love yourself completely, like no matter what. Like, like they'll throw a tantrum on the floor and completely freak out and snot everywhere, and then like 5 minutes later, they're running down the street naked in joy. Like they don't play the games that we play with themselves. Like they're just like, yeah, I was pissed. I'm okay now. They're not like, oh, I'm such a bad kid because I had a tantrum. Like they don't.
Yeah.
So that was.
So how did you start studying or start kind of digging into the blame, shame, and guilt and how that's connected to everything? Because I mean, obviously that's connected everywhere in our lives.
It's in our language, yeah.
Right. So what made you kind of dive deep into that specific topic? And because you did such an amazing talk, and I had so many insights when I heard you talk about it, and I thought, wow, this is like, you could talk about this topic forever. And I loved it because, just so everyone knows, it wasn't, sometimes people don't like to talk about these topics. It's like, you don't want to talk about money and your finances, but like, I love the way you're like, it's okay and it's no big deal, and you have great solutions and antidotes to these things. So, but how did you get upon this topic and start kind of digging into it?
Most of my programs and things that I've done in my business have been online and in moduality. So I have like a history that I could look back on and like, what is a theme and a topic that has come up in everything that I've done? And plus just downloads, like sitting with my eyes closed and just boom, 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 boom. And just being a living creature, you begin to see patterns and like, oh, this is what's happening here. And this person is this. And so I noticed that, oh my God, it's been in every single thing I've ever created. It's been at least a module, and it's been the deepest module.
Interesting.
And it started like where I started to ask people, like one of the icebreakers I use with people who don't know each other is the thing I don't want you to know about me, or the thing I'm most ashamed about. And this, like, it could feel like a really cruel icebreaker, but from that moment on in that group, those people like nobody else because of that vulnerability. And it also pushes people to the edge, and it's a space of I have to come out and be seen completely with like all my warts and all of that. And I just started to notice like how people talk to each other, how we blame, shame, and guilt each other, and how it's just been like this continual hypnosis from the time we were really, really small. And when I was really looking at it, my youngest was 2 or even littler, and I was watching blame, shame, and guilt be born. Like in what cognitive place is this born, and in what cognitive place in that growth is that born, and how do they deal with it, and how it's so innocent. It is so innocent how it's born. Like blame could be something like I didn't offer my 2-year-old wanted a banana. I'm cooking dinner, and I'm like, no, you just wait. And he comes at me and he's hitting my leg, and he says, "You're a mean mommy," because I won't give him I won't give him the banana. And over time, so then blame is born. You don't give me what I want, and that over time we sophisticate it so that you're a narcissistic bitch. You know, it really gets that it starts to really steamroll like this, and we don't even know it. But it starts out as something very innocent, like it's just a very innocent misunderstanding.
Right. And so what's the difference between shame and guilt?
It's a feeling in your body is the difference. So shame is more of a thing like you want to hide it, and guilt we'll wear it proudly on our sleeve. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. Shame is kind of this like I need to pull away and I don't want to be seen, and guilt is like even in language, it's like, oh, I feel so guilty. I ate the last cookie. Like we'll say it out loud. If shame is not something we want to talk about, it's like, ooh, where guilt is kind of we will wear it as a badge. It's an older guilt is born later. Guilt is born after shame.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I think of shame as more like, I guess I was envisioning it like little kids have shame about, like my daughter, who's 3, will spill, water on the table, and she'll feel really bad. And she'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "It's okay, it's no big deal." Yeah. And I don't know. I guess that's shame, and it, like you said, you do see it at such a young age. You see her like react to something, and she had like maybe never. Like I remember the first time, and she thought it was so terrible. Right. That she spilled something. And it's like an innocent it can either come from outside or inside. It's a natural part of our development. Nobody's doing it on purpose. And it's just like a misunderstanding, like I did something wrong. But then also the knowing that we're not capable of doing something wrong. We learn till the minute we die. Right. We're in this continuous level of learning. There's this idea that, I've stopped learning. I'm learning right now talking to you. Like all these things. And so we mistake things, and we take feelings in our bodies to be real events. And it just builds on top of each other like this. But I mean, you can be ashamed. Embarrassment is a form of shame. Being embarrassed, like you fall down, right? You fall down a stair. Like let's say you trip and you fall down the stairs and people are watching. You didn't trip on purpose. Like you did not go like, I'm going to trip and fall on my face. But you'll still feel like, oh my God. Like, I did that, and that's awful. And really, it was just a really simple happening. Right. And I like that, like in your talk, you talk about how like you didn't do anything wrong. You shouldn't feel bad. And it was so funny because right when I came back from that retreat and I heard your talk, what happened? Oh, I was at like a hair salon, and I opened the door, and like, everyone has to change and throw their little smocks. And I opened the door, and there was a woman changing. She had forgotten to lock the door, and she was visibly like upset about it. And I felt really bad. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But like, she didn't lock the door. And then I realized, I was like, that wasn't my fault. Yeah. Like it was okay. It's not a big deal. And I kind of let it go. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that was a thing I would have felt bad about, not forever, but I was like, oh, I feel bad. That person felt uncomfortable because I opened the door.
It's all my fault. I ruined her life. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I was like, geez, I didn't even like see, like I saw her bra strap, like not really a big deal. But she was uncomfortable.
Even if you'd walked in and seen everything. Like, oh goodness, that was not I was not intending to walk in on you. Like, I did not know you were in here, and it opens up a really cool, more honest conversations when you start to notice it as well. That's what I like about it. You get
so I thought like, okay, I'm not going to hold on to that. I'm just going to forgive myself. Not a big deal.
Exactly. And even, that's what I love. Forgiveness comes up when you start to recognize forgiveness wasn't really necessary because you didn't do anything wrong. It's just like, oh man, I did that. Okay. Just move on through the day. It's not like some bad human being that does these things. So shame is always like, the message of shame is like, it's okay. It's okay what just happened. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's even okay to feel shame.
Right.
Like,
right.
there's no, yeah.
Yeah. And I loved how you said, like, you know, what is in the talk that you gave, that you talked about, what are these feelings trying to tell us? So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I felt that was so insightful when you talk about kind of seeing these feelings and what they're teaching you.
They're always coming from like the ground of what you are. So they are more wanting to tell you like who, I'll just go with this. So shame is always the voice that says, I didn't do anything wrong. And not like a defensive voice. Because that you'll see will be a symptom of shame, is you'll come out and you'll be angry and be like, I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's the honest voice in you that knows, hey, I didn't open that door, or I didn't fall down the stairs, or I didn't like elbow that guy behind me. I didn't do that on purpose. And it's okay to do and say, oh, wow, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. It's okay to say something like this, but not to take a blame for it, you know, and be like, oh, I'm a jerk and there's something wrong with me. Because the voice of reason, the voice of understanding says you didn't do anything wrong. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right that you spilled the milk. It's okay that you fell down the whatever. It's okay, you know. And guilt is the voice that says inside you, it's okay, I love you no matter what you do. Like, even if you fuck up, even if you do shitty things, even if you're mean, even if you bully somebody, even if you're manipulative, no, all these things that you would feel guilty for, guilt is actually coming up from inside of you and saying, it's okay, I love you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Blame is always, always, always seeking safety.
Okay.
It's always looking for, am I safe? You know, it's the
Right.
part that tries to, blame is the service of the mind that's trying to figure out what's happening in the chaos.
Right.
Well, my feelings are hurt, so it must be your fault, or my feelings are hurt because I called you names, or it's trying to figure out, give it a place of, okay, I'm safe. And so when you notice I'm safe, blame will get really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't need an answer anymore. It's like, okay, that argument or that thing happened, and I don't need an answer. There really is no answer.
Right. Right. And I'm curious if this is true, because when you had talked about guilt, or maybe it was shame, I was thinking, oh, I have like an angry reaction. Like, I shouldn't feel bad about this. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I don't know if that's true for everyone. But for me, that's kind of probably masking some fear, right? That I'm worried that maybe I did that on purpose, or I'm not a good person, or, you know, there's a million things that can come up.
And it's the other thing is, if we feel like somebody else is doing something too, nobody likes to be told what to do. We all somehow inherently know we are sovereign entity beings within ourselves. We know that. And so anytime we feel like somebody's pushing something on us, we will come out with these weapons, but we don't have to when we recognize, oh, I have some good examples when it comes to business. Here's a good one.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I want to say. Like, why do people have so much guilt around money? Like, what is that about? I mean, that is just endless, right? If you think about guilt of having too much money, not having enough money, not, you know, like comparing yourself to others, you know, like there's just so much emotion and guilt and shame just inherent in talks about money. Like, why is that?
Okay. There's also a genre of marketing where they count on it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
They count on it. They play to it. They push into the insecurities. They push into the blame, shame, and guilt. And the goal is to push into that so that you pay. And I would say a huge majority of marketing is done this way. Even
right. Either you're not good enough, right? And it's funny that if you read, old school like advertising, you know, it is very like, you're not good enough, buy our product and it will solve your problems. It will make you happier, cleaner, more desirable, whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's like, maybe it's like a base human like issue, like that we feel like that we're not enough.
Exactly.
And so that's why.
And then they play into that. And here's what happens when, now there's, again, all guilt, blame, and shame around money is innocent misunderstandings. So I'm going to share the example of a friend of ours that she's 6 years old and she calls up a uncle of hers or grandpa, I can't remember what it was. And she says, you know, mom and dad are really struggling and I want them to go on vacation to Hawaii. And she didn't know, even at 6 years old, she didn't know why she knew this particular person had more money. She just knew they had more money. And to her, it was like logical. Okay, I know it costs money to go to Hawaii, so I'm going to call up the guy who everybody says has money, because that's what you do when you're 6. You know, you believe in magic. And his reaction was, how dare you ask me for money? And so boom, that's her. Whoa, what? Huh? And she has this physical reaction, you know, like the whole, like the ears come up and you feel like you want to duck away. And she automatically, the nerve pathways in the brain, money, bad.
Right.
Asking for money, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that again. I don't want to feel like that. So we mistake a reaction in the body for reality and for meaning something. And it's just, that's why I always say it's an innocent misunderstanding. And so I don't know how many of us had that. Or think about all the myths, because money is a myth and a legend. It's really just that it. Think of all the myths that we're told. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for your money. Don't talk about money. Different cultures are different, but don't talk about money and don't talk about how much you make. And other countries are like, yeah, tell everybody, you know. My story around the money piece for me is like really actual for me, because at the beginning of this year, everyone was doing like these, my word for this year is abundance. My word for this year is prosperity or community. And I would like just being cheeky with myself because I don't do that. It's not a practice that I do. And I'm like, okay, Shanti, so what's this year? And I'm sitting drinking my coffee and it's like, oh, this is your year of the greedy bastard. And I spat coffee out of my nose. I was like, what? How come I didn't get like peace and flowers and unicorn farts? Like, what the hell is that? And I recognized it as an opportunity because that's really what I was terrified. And I think many people are terrified of selling services or products. I will be perceived as a greedy bastard. And this came to me because I signed my first, this is like 3 or 4 years ago. I signed my first $25,000 a year client and I almost died. Like, holy shit! Like I completely I ran around the house. I thought I was like, this was the awesomest thing that ever happened in the whole planet of the earth. And I was telling my mother-in-law, who's been a psychotherapist for many years. And I was just excited and her whole face dropped. And she did not have the reaction that I was thinking somebody would have. And she's like, well, now you just can't help the people that really need it. And I was like, oh. And then it was kind of like, I was kind of chewing on it for the rest of the day. Like she went about her day. I have kids, life is going on. And I remember putting the silverware into the drawer. And I don't know, it was like an epic moment for me because it was interesting how my mind asked the question. It said, and I was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? What is this? What am I feeling? And of course it was guilt and blame and all the shit around. Oh, I am an asshole. You know, the voice inside my head said, sweetheart, are you willing to be seen as a greedy bastard to do the work that you do? And it didn't ask me, am I willing to be a greedy bastard? It asked me, am I willing to be seen as one? And this question reminded me that I know I'm not a greedy bastard. And I love myself completely. So even if I am, it's okay. So be it. Because it will always lead me home. If I get off the wrong track and I put money first, I don't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me. It might feel good to somebody else. I've never met anyone who leads with money who feels good about it. But that's just my experience. I'm open to the possibilities of the universe. There might be somebody out there that's like, that's their juice and they really are fulfilled. For me, it's not. I can't lead with money.
And that's so interesting because I always say someone who's a coach, it's like one of the hardest things to sell because you do have to be totally okay with who you are. Because if you're not, and you haven't done that work as a coach, selling yourself, you're really selling not just yourself, like the essence of who you are when you're a coach.
It's why my brand's being Shanti, because I'm like, screw that. I'm not going to pretend that I'm somebody Shanti coach. I'm Shanti, and that's just what it is.
Right. So if you have any conflict about that, then it would be very hard to charge $25,000 because I could see how that would bring up so many issues. Like, am I really worth this much? Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Like, I mean,
what are the results? And I have to prove myself and all this crap. Now, I have had business coaches myself. And I've seen so many mistakes of people that I wind up firing myself from. I don't fire people, I fire myself. Where it just wasn't working because a particular coach, they were leading with money. They asked me, what are my money goals? And this is not how I work in my business. I'm learning to take more responsibility of that, but I'm just like, I don't have money goals. I have what I want to create into the world and I'm going to do that. And the rest is irrelevant to me. And I make good money doing that. Good money to me. Good money, my good money might not be your good money. Like we're all free for that. But she was so adamant and so pushing to make my money back, my investment in her back.
Because that's how she justified it.
Exactly. It's how she proved herself. That she stopped listening to me.
Right.
When I said, I'd like to go slower.
Yeah.
I'd like to, I feel myself coming up with some shit and I'd like to look at it. I'd like to integrate through that. I don't want to like rush through this and pretend like it's not there. That's not my way. And so that was when our relationship needed to part. But it was the intention for that. I need to prove myself that I'm worth that money. Didn't make it work for me and her. And she's awesome. And she makes great money and she's doing awesome with people. It was just for us not resonating because I was like, I need you to meet me here.
Right.
And
right. Well, she was talking about what was valuable to her, but that wasn't necessarily valuable to you. Exactly. So, yeah.
Well, she was results oriented. If I don't get results, I'm not valuable.
Right. Money results.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like,
so, yeah. So I was thinking about this a lot and I was thinking, so one thing that I hear quite a bit of is people saying, you know what, I'm scared or I feel really guilty asking people for money or I feel guilty like promoting myself, right? And I hear this from moms at my school. I hear this from small business owners. I hear this from all kinds of people when I'm coaching them about sales. Like I just have this guilt. And so I really thought about that because I remember being a new salesperson and feeling that too. But I thought about it and I was like, I don't think that's a guilt feeling. I think people are saying it's guilt, but it's really just a fear, like a fear of judgment. Like I'm scared. If I ask you, would you like to buy this makeup? Would you like to buy this handbag? Would you like to buy my services? I feel like you're going to reject me.
You're going to think I'm a sleazy. You're going to think I'm a sleazy car salesman.
Right, but I don't think that's guilt. And I think sometimes, and it made me think like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if sometimes people confuse fear and guilt, and like there's definitely a connection between those two.
Well, when you,
like, what do you think?
When I would say, oh, you're so greedy. Do you feel fear or do you feel guilt?
I feel annoyed because I don't think that's true.
Right. But the reaction you wouldn't be, oh, I'm afraid of that person.
Right.
It would be the guilt that you would feel if somebody felt that way about you.
Yeah, the guilt. Yeah.
So that's really, so they're afraid of that guilt.
Or of the judgment. Yes.
The judgment and the feeling that would mean. So I love it because I also get like a lot of people like MLMers who are like, how do I don't, like I feel like I'm constantly doing that. And so the way I look at it that might be helpful is I'm just offering something.
Right.
It's like I have a plate of candy and it's this certain kind of candy. And I'm offering it to you. You want some candy? It's awesome. It's this, it's that. And you might try it. Yeah, right. And you might not like licorice or you might not like strawberry or you might not like vanilla. And how awesome is it that I have vanilla and you have chocolate? So there's an opportunity for everyone. It's like, so I'm not coming from lack, like, oh my God, everybody just has to like vanilla or everybody just has to like my candy. Right. It's like, no, here's my candy. Here's my cookies. Would you like some?
Right.
I'm offering something. I'm not pushing something on somebody. Even if I take the evil marketing that I don't like, that pushes into people's insecurities, they don't force the person to push the button to pay the credit card. That person can think for themselves and feel for themselves and figure themselves out too. So in the offering, instead of the pushing or the manipulating or the bullying, in the offering, I trust you to make the decision that is right for you. And then I can just keep offering. And if you don't like it, you can unfriend me, for example, whether it's like in real life or, or you can tell me, look, I don't want to hear about your opportunity. Like, I just don't. And it's not personal. My candy is not me.
Right.
My
that's so true.
Is
yeah. And I always say that's just releasing attachment to the outcome. Like it doesn't matter if they say yes or no, because like you said, you're just offering, and if it's right for them, then it's right.
Yeah. And the person in front of me never has to be my next client. Never, ever. And I don't do like the 30-minute sessions and just give them like a little cookie, just a little crumb, and here's just the kind of what my cookies taste like. Like, no, I give them the cookie. Yeah. And they can decide if they want more cookies.
Right.
And that's just how I work because my business plan is very simple. It's be fully myself, come from generosity, and do epic shit. And so long as I just stay in there, like I come from the place of I want this to be a win-win. Like I feel like I walk away, I can't really control how you walk away from the experience. I can't, I don't know if you're going to walk away and feel like it was a win-win. But from my perspective, I do the very best to feel like it's a win-win. Like I'm getting ready to launch something in August. It's called The Experiment. And I'm offering also mini sessions. If people don't want to go into the group, they can have the mini sessions. I'm not giving them less because they're not going into the group. I'm giving them the entire, it's like if I could package it in a box, the box is either going into this group setting where there's a community and people doing it too, and it's exciting and there's momentum and it's great, or I'm giving this box to you in a 90-minute session.
Right.
And I'm giving it to you for value. Like the value of the box doesn't change. It's just the container that the box is in. And for me, this is a win-win. So people who don't feel like going that, or they don't want to wait, then they get this box. But I'm not withholding something. So I hope that they go into the other higher priced thing. I'm just giving it completely.
Yeah. Okay. So now you have to tell about The Experiment because it's the coolest thing ever. And I love talking to you about it. Can you share a little bit about it?
I can't. It's just like I'm still not practiced in being able to tell what it is. Like, and even the people that are right now coming out of the group from the previous group, they're like, dude, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's no real words that like explain what we're doing other than it came from me, people asking me, how are you doing what you're doing? And how are you sharing your joy? And then the other side of that was people sending me like messages, openly or not, saying, well, of course you're happy. You have the perfect life. You've never had hardship. I'm like, okay. And part of me, like, for a long time, I was resistant to share the dark side because I kind of felt like, okay, everybody has their dark shit. Everybody does. And my dark shit's not better or worse than somebody else's dark shit. I don't know why I hesitated. I don't care. I'm not hesitating anymore. So I've been sharing a little bit of like my background, and that the reason that I found out that there's light in the darkness is because I've been in the dark a lot, not because it's a cliche. And so then, and people were asking me, yes, Shanti, but how? And I kept kind of like trying to push it away. I don't have a message. I don't have a method. And it's not a method. It's a living, breathing thing, The Experiment. It's called The Experiment precisely because it's hard to explain. And then it was just one day I started to look at like, how am I doing? How is this happening? And then I recognized, at first I thought I was just an alien. And then I was like, that can't be. Like, it can't be that I'm the only one doing this.
Right.
And I started to watch and look and observe, and I recognized, holy shit, we're all doing it. We're all doing it unconsciously. So what would happen if we started to do it intentionally with like some kind of, like a roadmap, but it's like the most vague roadmap you've ever seen. It's like you're given the landscape. And then the way that The Experiment works is once you have the just these very minimal guidelines, your own mind takes over. So it doesn't belong to me. I could die tomorrow and everybody who knows what The Experiment is and has done it could tell somebody else and it would just unravel like that. And that's really the goal, is to get this into as many hands as possible, because what it does is just allow it's like the easiest, quickest way to be like, hey, I'm okay exactly how I am. So I
think for people who are not watching, they might be like, what the heck are you talking about? Can I try to explain? I don't know if I can even explain it, but I would say it's almost a way of thinking, right? Would you say kind of? Or it's like a way to shift your mindset?
Feeling. This is what it is.
Yes,
it's
that's
a way
what it
of
is.
Feeling that shifts the way you think.
Okay, I think that is a great.
So a lot of people try to go from thinking to I have to define the different things. So I call it emotionality, personality, and physicality. Feeling is something else. So we try to go through the thinking and emotion are very, very glued together like Velcro. Same with the physical body. But what we are and what we experience is feeling. It's a feel. When you're in a feeling, you have a really hard time to describe it. You know, it will take you a moment to find the language to speak it. And this is usually like ones to explain are like profound moments. The moment you fall in love, you cannot describe that moment, but in that, like, just as I said that, it's like my whole body reacted to that moment. And we all have those moments, or just moments where you have no words, and usually tears are involved, right? It's just it's just this deep sense of something, and that's feeling. And so this is about tapping into that feeling in a very easy, lighthearted, fun, also can piss you off kind of way that fundamentally changes the way your thoughts work. So instead of your thought processing saying life is finite, I only have these many options, it starts to open up to infinite possibility. It's like it's exploring infinite possibility. Yeah. But it can be so simple.
I was thinking it's almost like an affirmation, but you're doing it the regret. You know, like people say, oh, you just think of these affirmations, but it's almost like you're saying, you should feel the affirmation. I mean, that's a very, very simple way, because I know
that is exactly that.
You're feeling it instead of thinking.
Yeah, it's the feeling sense of what you think you want. And the feeling is always here. And what we discovered in the experiment is like people would have like this big aha moment. You know, like people would talk about epiphanies. And then they would try to recreate the epiphany. And you can't, because what you are is a moving thing.
Right.
You like, if let's say we're linear, we're not, but let's say going in a line right here, you have like an epiphany. And then you're like, that's fucking awesome. I love that feeling. I want that again. And you try to recreate it, and you can't, because it only existed in that moment. So it's in the noticing that the feel good is what I call it, or the unwavering okayness that we are, it moves too. And so the spectrum starts to open up, and you start to trust your own experience. You go from looking outside yourself to get the feedback of who and what and how you should feel and who you should be and all of that, to, oh, I know what my experience is, and I know exactly what my experience is. So I don't need to ask anyone else. And you start to feel deeply connected to other people. So like something will, I'll use the word resonate, and you just know that's a person I need to talk to, or that's a person I want to hang out with, or that's a person I need a connection with. And you trust yourself. You don't like, there's no more, things start to become much more fluid, easier. And the word that keeps coming up with everybody's effortless. My life is way more effortless. Everything I do is way more effortless. More things are coming to me because I'm not denying myself them, or the possibility of those things in my life. So it's like, it's opening up to possibility. And the really cool stuff, which I'm really excited about, is there's implications for the physical, because if you unravel the emotionality, personality, and physicality, and you're really living in that feeling, things you wouldn't believe were possible become possible.
Right. And I think that applies to, health, business, personal, like pretty much everything. And I'm so excited to hear more about it when you do this in August.
And there's one thing I want to tell about, because most of your people are online, right? Okay. This is really important. 3% of people on the online space actually make it. Because it's fucking uncomfortable. You know, you go through, it's like you're pulling your skin. It's like you are having to come out and like a butterfly over and over and over and over again. You have to be willing to fall on the ground and cry from not enoughness, and stand back up and keep going. And this is where the experiment becomes very valuable, because you begin to understand, I'm laying on the floor. I don't feel like I'm good enough. It looks like I'm falling apart, because every time you push against a physical barrier, like a financial, like a material, I want more money, or I'm going to make a bigger course than I made before, or I'm going to expand further than I am, you're going to hit that skin, right? And it's uncomfortable. And the experiment allows you to understand, I'm uncomfortable, and it's okay.
Right.
I don't have to run away. And like my last one was last week. My mind was screaming at me to shut down Facebook and go live in a cave somewhere. Like literally fall off the face of the planet. And it was like, I'm like crying and sad, but I'm like laughing, because I'm like, that's kind of extreme, don't you think? Like, but it was the ability to be okay with that discomfort. And then out of that is born this momentum for my experiment, as it, is birthed into another variation of what from the last time. It's like become something way bigger than it was the first time I introduced it to people. And like that bigness, just that simple bigness was like, just to be able to push through that. And it is uncomfortable, and online business is lonely. And it's so nice to know that I'm not alone. And building community is really important to me. And so when I do the experiment in August, there will be 3 alumni. So 3 people who have already done it will be the bonus. So they will be there to like hold space and guide everybody else. And also it's important to me that people see it's not me. It's not me. Like we are all doing
other people can do it. Yeah.
Everybody can do this. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your belief system. It doesn't matter. All it matters is that you can suspend for one single moment what you believe to be true.
Right. I love that.
And just for believe in magic.
So I'm so excited, and you guys have to check out the experiment from Shanti. And what is your website? Shanti.com? Okay, I'm gonna type that in. So the other thing,
and I'd like to say something about business and shame, because this is very real for me. Like in the last
yeah.
So I have a tech guy helping me with my webpage. He's also a client. He's also been a part of the experiment. And I went to him and I told him what I'm doing with the experiment and the price point. Then he went weird. And I watched and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I said, what's going on? I felt the energy shift. And he was like, that's a lot of money. And I said, are you doubting it? He's like, it's a lot of money. I said, okay, that's your doubt. You can keep it. Because he was doubting, not me and not the experiment, but he was having his own issues around money.
Right.
And because I see it, I know this. I'm willing to have the conversations with my team that like this is not going to go anywhere. Like you've got to get on board with me.
Right.
And we unraveled his thing. He's like, yeah, this is about me, and feeling like I could never ask for that amount of money, and it brought up all of that. But I could only come face to face with that because I've been face to face with my own. I had just prior to that conversation with him, come out of my own shame. Feeling like, who the fuck am I to ask for money? Like in general, like even like at the bus stop.
No, it's true. But I think that's such a gift that you can get. And I've heard other coaches specifically have people call them out like, that price is outrageous. That's just not in line with the market. And that's a gift, because if you can accept the price that you're charging, I mean, that's the perfect.
It's no mistake. I called it the experiment, but so is business, right? Like everything I do, I'm just like, let's try. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Like I'll most likely fall on my face.
Yeah. It's like an experiment, really.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I'm going to put it out there for 100. When I first started coaching, and I'm always honest and transparent, this is important for me in my marketing. I was like, okay, I just got these certificates from here. I'm certified. I don't know what I'm doing. Who wants to be my client for $25 an hour? Like literally, like I just went into like all the groups I was on Facebook at the time, and I had 10 clients out of the gate.
Oh, that's pretty good.
$25 an hour. And I really said, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, really, you're going to pay me to be my guinea pigs. Like, I had all my schooling and all of that, but like the actual, like in the real world, when nobody's handing you those people, or it's not a fellow classmate or whatever. And then I just went from there, and it was like, and I literally was like, I lost a lot of business because I played with numbers so much. I was like, oh, it's 10,000. Oh, it's 3,000. Oh, it's a 20,000. Like after a really deep conversation, I was just like, that's what I would do. And I remember the first time, the first person he's like, well, I want to work with you for 6 months. I said, okay, it's $1,000 a month. He said, okay, where do I pay? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And that's how like that's where I pushed my own abilities. Right. And that's just how I've always done it. Same thing with that $25,000 one where I was like just shocked out of my seat because it was I just made it up.
Right.
Like, there's no science to this. There's no, like my numbers for my 90-minute sessions for the experiment are 555. It's 550 because I like it and I think it's funny. Not because it's $497 and somebody else told me that the human psyche responds to these numbers because it's not quite $500. Like, there is all of that, but I'm just doing what I want. And I wish more people did that. Yeah. Without the fear of like, I can't do that. Or what are people going to think about me or whatever? It's like, I don't care. Like, this is my favorite quote the last weeks. If somebody has to not like me, let it be someone else.
Someone else other than me.
Yeah. If somebody has to doubt me, if somebody has to not like my prices, if somebody has to think I'm full of shit, let it be somebody else. Yeah. Please let it be someone else. And over here, I can just keep loving and checking in and making sure that these numbers work for me. And really the numbers are, I work with 5s, 3s, 1s, and 2s. I like them. I pick prices because you can divide it into this and it's that number, because I'm just weird like this. Like I just am quirky, and it's okay for me. And there's no, and I might put a program out there and it doesn't sell anything. That's how I learn. Okay, that either that money, but that's never happened to me. I'm just going to be honest. Like I've never had anything fall flat on its face. That hasn't.
But I love that you say pricing is made up, because so many people ask me about pricing and how they determine pricing. And it really is like there are no rules. And
there's so many. Oh my God, there's so many different ways to do funnels. There's so many different ways. Like just like I love this. I went to Steve Chandler, did some. I went to a thing with him, and then I read a book. I can't remember what it was, but it's like the 18 somethings to something, which is like I'm never really good at the 18s or the 10s or the program with 3 or whatever. And I remember there was just one thing on that list that lit me up, like tingled my body. I was like excited. And I just ran with that one thing, and everything else, I threw it in the trash. And I would so highly suggest that people do that. Like just pick like if you're reading a book on coaching, you're reading a book on marketing, you're reading a book or listening to a podcast, and something just goes, screw everything else and run as fast as you can with that one thing, and it will change everything.
I totally agree. I go to like sometimes these 3-day conferences, and it's like one thing will stand out, and I'm like, that one thing was worth the whole time. Like, I don't need to do anything else. I don't have to worry, like, did I get my money's worth? It's like that one thing was my thing.
Exactly. And trusting that other people are going to get what they get out of the sessions with me, that I have no control over that. But that for what I do have control over is that I show up fully. Like I'm in your corner, like 985%. Like that's my juice. That's my job. And so I can't control how somebody, like I remember not wanting to ask for $25,000 because I didn't give the other person the respect to make their own decisions. And the honor to say, that's not right for me right now. And to honor that.
Right.
It was like, I wasn't even giving them the option. Oh no, you can't afford this.
Right.
Like, I'm not the one to make those decisions.
Right. Exactly. That's so true. Yeah. So I can't let you go without talking about the antidotes to blame, shame, and guilt, because that is so
we've been sort of talking about it.
Yeah, we have.
It's playful. It's curious. It's experimenting. It's if you're feeling shame around it, look out, like, is that mine? Is that my shame, or is that what I think other people will think of me? Am I ashamed of myself because of my thing that I'm selling, my cookies? Can somebody be ashamed of cookies? Like really getting curious around those feelings. But when it comes to business, get curious. Like right now, I'm building my launch, asking the people from my last experiment everything. I'm curious. I'm like Curious George. They're probably sick of me. Like every day I have some other things. Like, what about this? And what about that? How is that? And I'm like, I'm just curious, but I'm excited curious, and I'm giving back curious, and I'm curiosity will. I don't like to kill as a pretty. Curiosity is the antidote to, and delight and joy and interest in something will totally get rid of blame, shame, and guilt.
Yeah. And I think in business, that's so important, because so many people take their businesses so seriously. And it is, I mean, I get that. I mean, it's providing their financial stability, but when you don't have any playfulness and no curiosity in your business, it's kind of like I feel like that's
if it's not fun. Like I'd say this, if it's not flowing for me, I don't do it. Like I am that person who lets everything be easy. If it's not easy, I'm going to change direction, and I might do that 100 times a day. What's easy. What's easy for me to do, what's fun for me to do. If I get serious, if I'm a crying fucking mess, then I walk away from my business that day.
Right. And I think what you mean though, but I do think people get mixed up because they think having ease means they don't necessarily have to do the hard work. And sometimes like learning new technology or spending time, especially in sales, like doing the sales part is hard, right? Because you're going to get rejected most of the time, and people think, well, that's not easy, so I'm not going to do it. So feeling ease is different than
Well, what if you went out and whatever you were selling, you didn't have to sell it today, or you didn't have to sell it to that person sitting in front of you, or it wasn't such a big deal if you sold 10 or whatever. Like, I get excited. I'm like, how many could I sell today? How cool would that be? Or who am I going to talk to today? Or who could I talk to today? Or who would I be excited to talk to today? Like, and here's the thing. True freedom is the freedom to even do what you don't like.
Right.
Freedom is not just doing what you like. Freedom is, oh, I can even do what I don't like, which for me is like accounting and paperwork and shit. I hate it. But I did it today. I was like, okay, well, how? Because I'm always after the end. Here's a little bit of the experiment. I'm after the end result. How am I going to feel when this is finished?
Right.
How am I going to feel? Oh my God, how am I going to feel when the experiment is filled with all these awesome fucking people? Really ready to like never have to read a self-help book again, never have to go to a retreat, never have to look outside themselves. Now they can still go to those things and they'll be awesome, but they won't need them for anything. Like, I can't get over how that feels. And I vibrate with the way of that feeling, that sense of being able to hold that space and be in that community. And so anything between now and then that has to be done, I flood it with that feeling.
Yeah. And I love that, because as entrepreneurs, there are so many things that we have to do that are not fun, like the accounting, like, cleaning your office, like doing all of these things. And I think that is such a great tip to be able to tell people, like, hey, like, think about that end result, because that is what it's about. Like, oh, I do have to have a couple conversations with people where they might say no. And that's okay, because if I talk to more people who are no's, someone's eventually going to be a yes. And so it's really just kind of, it's just kind of framing.
Like, I'm not about the yes. I'm about the experience that's right now. Like, I want to give everything I've got to the person in front of me.
Right.
Because then I feel fulfilled. That's my due. Like, I often like to say too, in my business, I get paid in a whole lot more than money.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
If my only focus is money, and money's important. Oh my God. I'm not going to that's an awesome piece. I love talking about money. I think it's like this awesome juju, but like, I get paid in so many other ways. And for me, one of those things that I get paid is that I get to do this.
Right.
Like, I get to do this. And that's one of my payment forms. And so I can get really, really juiced about somebody who says no. Because I've had people say no and then tell their friends and their spouses, and those people became my clients. Like,
exactly.
The thing to remember too, especially if you're a coach, or even you do not know who you are touching through the one person in front of you.
That is so true. I mean, yeah, someone did a meditation for me. It might have been like a year ago, and she did this visualization, which I think, and I teach this for so many people when they are worried about sales, but it's true. It's like kind of visualizing all the people you've helped, and then the circle of those people, because not only, even if you don't work with them and they refer you to someone, even like our conversation, I've shared with a friend, and that friend might share it with another friend, and then it becomes a circle, right, of people who are being helped by just maybe one simple conversation from this Blab, from, any encounter that you might have with someone.
And for me, like, the part of my business plan that's really the most important piece for me is to come from generosity.
Yeah.
Like, I've been on the other side of like stingy people and it doesn't feel good. Right. And so when I feel stingy is time for me to recalibrate to generosity.
Right.
From within myself. I have to come from generosity in order to feel fulfilled. It's another part of my payment plan, right? It's part of what I get paid in, is that I get to come from generosity. I get to not put pressure on somebody to sign up with me. And I can't tell you how many times because I come from the old school. My coaching school is about, push into the pain, push people into the pain. So they put the credit card on the table.
Oh, interesting.
I know this, and I know the feeling of being on the other side of that. And it can be so subtle that I get caught in it. And every time I get caught, it's like another hook I get to pull out, right? This caught, and it's painful. And so the generosity always leads me back away from that kind of thing. And so I've gotten emails where people were like, it was a yes. And we're just setting up the ways to pay. And then they back out a little bit. They're scared, or it's, like, sometimes people have had to be on a wait list, and it's never easy when you put money down and then you have to wait 2 months. Because we're all like about, let's get this going now, right? And have them, all of a sudden they have different things for their money, right? I can do this with that. And Never once have I said, oh, you really have to. Every time I let the client go. I said, look, you're free to make the decision to do with your money whatever. If you need to go put it to that thing you said you did, that's awesome. I just want to remind you what we're talking about and why we were interested in working together. And we can work together anytime. It could be when we said we would. It could be in 5 years. It could be 10 years. It could be never. I just wish you well, and I want you to continue on the path that we talked about. Never once has somebody left.
Right.
Like, it's like, I love you. I care about you. I love what you're going for. And it doesn't have to be me. And within moments, people have paid me. And I've been shocked because it's against everything I was taught. Which was, I don't need you to be my client. I want you to be here and work with me because it's like, you can't help yourself. So that's how I want it. Those are the people I want to work with. And
of course. And you use the phrase win-win, and that's exactly what I teach people as well. Like, it is someone so excited to work with you that they are grateful to give you money just because your services are so amazing. And that's how it should be, right? That's the perfect situation.
And when I hire somebody, I make sure that I pay at the top of that or more. I pay what I want. I pay what feels really good. I don't try to get deals anymore, and I don't give discounts. I want people to know I love you, I care about you, I value you in my life.
Right.
And that just has to ooze out of me in everything that I do.
Right. Oh, that totally makes sense. Yeah. I love that. So tell people again where they can find you. They can find you at beingshanti.com.
Beingshanti.com. Right now, there's a little tag that says the experiment coming soon, and you can put your email in there, and I don't know, I'll send you some emails and stuff.
And then where else do you post? You're on Facebook Live.
If you want to find me, if you want instant access to me, it would be Facebook. And it's just Shanti. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Shanti Zimmerman with 2 M's and 2 N's. It's right there at the top of my name.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's like the most instant. That's my jam. I have the Twitter, but I don't use it very much. And I'm just getting into Instagram.
Okay. Perfect. And you can find me at soulfulsellingbootcamp.com.
Yeah.
And I teach entrepreneurs, if you have joined late, how to feel comfortable increasing sales in their business without all of the guilt and the blame and the shame. So thank you so much for joining. This is wonderful. I'm so excited to see more information about the experiment because that's just like the coolest thing ever.
So I'm excited too. It's getting very
understood that conversation.
Yeah, I hope everybody figured that out. No, but really it's just about let your business be a lover. Let it be a really cool thing. Let it be the best playground that you're creating.
Yeah.
It's where the juice is. And if you keep focusing on that, then blame, shame, and guilt won't have a place. And if they do show up, and they will. I think that's the ultimate thing is to understand they will. And that's already a huge knowing. Oh, they're here. Okay, this is normal. I'm not the only one feeling like this. Everybody who goes through this feels like this. Everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care how successful you are. You go through that.
That's so true. Cool. Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful. And thank you for sharing all your information with us. And we can find more about Shanti at Shanti Zimmerman. Or no, Being Shanti, beingshanti.com.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I haven't hooked Shanti Zimmerman to, the whole technology thing is very
but we can find it on Facebook.
It's not my level of genius. Yes.
Yeah. It's not hard to find you, so that's good.
Not at all.
Awesome. Thanks, Shanti.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Of course. And we'll talk soon.
Yes, of course. Oh, yes.
Thanks.